Welcome to Disruptive Capitalist, the show where purpose-driven entrepreneurs and bold investors share how they're reshaping the world by investing time and money in a way that improves lives and creates wealth. So let's get to it. Everyone, thank you for joining us again today for another great episode of the Disruptive Capitalist Podcast, where we talk about using capitalism for good. It takes intent, desire, good heart. I've heard, how heartworthy are you is a thing I heard the other day. Anyhow. My guest today is Tony Lopes, who is a first-generation American real estate investor, best-selling author of Freedom at Risk. Definitely want to talk about that. The CEO of Dirty Boots Capital, which we're going to talk about. Tony spent 19 years managing multi-million-dollar programs in the defense industry, all while building a portfolio of multifamily properties on the side. Thanks to smart investing and a deep understanding of macroeconomics and market cycles, he was able to retire at age 44. Today, he helps others create passive income and achieve more freedom, more impact, which is what we love, and more peace of mind. Because folks, if you aren't healthy, then what else really matters? Tony, thank you for joining the pod.
Sam, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate you. And I want to get out there first and foremost. So for the listeners, please smash that like button, subscribe to Sam's channel if you haven't already, please. It takes a lot of work to do this. The content Sam is putting out is amazing, right? It takes time and energy to do this. So please do Sam a nice service by subscribing, give him those follows, give him those likes, show him a lot of love. He's doing some great stuff here.
Thank you very much, Tony. I really, really appreciate it. Tell us, so 19 years in defense, what were you doing in the defense industry and what led you into real estate?
Yeah, so really, it almost predated the defense industry. So I had worked in defense for a little bit, then I left, went to the commercial world for a little bit. And in the commercial world, I got laid off. And so I said that I was a young man at the time. I was, I think, in my late 20s. And I was like, man, this sucks, right? Because it was never planned for, right? It was never spoken about, so to speak. I mean, my parents were immigrants. They came to this country. And as I share with folks, some folks may have heard the story already, right? They said, go to school, get a good education, you'll get a good job, and you'll be taken care of for the rest of your life. That was the mantra I was handed down. And let me tell you, so I, as a young man, what did I know? I went to school, got a great education. I actually got 2 degrees, a mechanical engineering degree and a MBA degree. I had 2 great degrees, right? I joined the workforce. I worked for a few years, moved to the commercial world, and I got laid off. And I'm like, heck, this wasn't part of the mantra I was handed down.
They didn't talk about that in school.
They didn't talk about that. Exactly.
Welcome to life.
Yeah. So as a young man, I mean, man, that was a very low point for me that I had to bounce back from. So I wasn't financially free at that time. I'm happy to say that I am today because of the choices I made. And that's why you and I encourage folks to do certain things and try to get them to take action, because it is possible. So, but at the time, as a young man, I wasn't financially free. I had to get another job, which was okay. I got another job and I went back to the defense world. And that's, fortunately, they took me back. I didn't burn any bridges. That's a huge lesson.
Yeah.
But then from there, I said, wait a minute, I don't want to be solely linked to a paycheck from my W-2 job. I wanted some additional income. And so that was really the point at which I started buying some multifamily. And I did it slow. And I encourage folks, you don't have to go off and buy like an entire apartment complex, 40 units, 50 units. If you can and you want to, that's great. But go buy a duplex. Go buy a single family in Airbnb. Go buy a quad, right? Small. That's how I started. I didn't get to retirement at 44 because I was buying big apartment complexes. I bought a quad. I bought a 3-unit building. I bought a 5-unit building. I bought a duplex. Different things like that was really, honest to God, that was my base that allowed me to retire at 44. Only after I retired did I start getting involved with others to do larger deals in terms of the multifamily space. So that was kind of the transition there from the defense industry, W-2 job, into eventually while I was building up my real estate portfolio, working in defense, to eventually being able to let go of the W-2 job and just solely focus on real estate.
There's nothing like having a giant curveball thrown at you. And I was talking with someone else earlier today. It's like necessity is the mother of invention. And that could be whether you're inventing a product or reinventing yourself because you're like, I just got laid off. No, put that in the manual. And I was working hard and doing great, but the company lost a contract or something. They cut jobs. They had to stay alive. And you were one of those. So it's like, how do you reinvent yourself, which is the necessity. And fortunately, you have built relationships and are able to capitalize on that. And plus, real estate has done really good over the past, I don't know, long time, with a big giant hiccup in 2008 and 9, which created a massive opportunity window for people to come in 2009 and 10, 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and get access to incredible deals that you could not touch today. But today, the market is distressed. And so tell me, Tony, you were talking about like different types of distress. Talk to me about, or to us about the distress that you see.
Yeah, thank you. So, we in the space of, in terms of multifamily, even commercial like retail space, things like that, we talk about distress primarily historically in two forms. Like when you look back 20, 30 years ago, we would talk about distressed properties in terms of like, oh, nobody took care of it. It needs a new roof. It's leaking. It needs, a kitchen refresh, a bath refresh. Like we would talk about the property being distressed and ugly in that way, right?
Yeah.
And then more recently, there was a second type of distress that we started talking about. Like you said, over the last, really 10, 15 years, real estate has kind of looked really sexy to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they realized, hey, I can make decent money doing real estate. So there were a lot of newer, younger folks, new blood getting into purchasing multifamilies, and it looked easy. But on the other end, you and I both know it takes work. It takes experience. So now we talk about distress in terms of, we also have this other type of distress called operator distress. Operators who are newer, younger, don't really know how to manage well. I come from managing multi-million-dollar programs. Man, you should see my spreadsheets.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Like we go through a remodel, I do an entire spreadsheet line by line, what's happening on each particular day, how much it's going to cost. That, wow, it's just like, but I feel like that has kept me on track, right? So for some of the newer folks, they just expect either their property managers to take care of things or their contractors to just do what they're supposed to do. And
can I give you folks, a news flash? Property managers are in the business of making money off of your property, and they charge fees. That's how they get paid. So they're not maximizing your asset value to your investors.
Exactly. We are the asset managers, right? When we own property, right? We signed on the dotted line as we are the asset manager. The buck stops with us. We have to make sure as the asset manager, as the operator, that property is operated efficiency. And sometimes, like Sam is saying, right? The property manager is acting maybe more with their self-interest in mind, using their type of contractors, maybe not getting the best price you need them to get to be able to cash flow as enough as you need to. So you have to engage. And so that's kind of some of the distress that we've seen with operators is they don't know. They don't know how to engage. They don't know what the prices should be. They don't know where to spend money, how to do value add. Should they do value add or shouldn't they? So there's that distress, that secondary type of distress we've been talking about for a long time, many years with the multifamily space. Okay, so those are two types of distress. You and I, when we first got on, before you hit the record button, we actually already got into it. We were so jazzed and excited because you've seen this, I've seen this. Recently, what we're seeing is a third type of distress within the multifamily space. This is primarily multifamily, residential multifamily space. We are seeing distressed renters.
Yep.
Okay. And this is both bad and good, right? So if you are an operator or looking to buy, you need to understand where your renters are at. They're your clients, so to speak, right? They are the people that you service with providing clean, good, comfortable living space, right? So you need to know the health of their financials and the economics that surround them. And I was looking at some statistics before we joined, and just 5 years ago, I'm looking at one of the Fred charts here from the government, which we know we can trust to be accurate. 5 years ago, the average amount for a new car loan was $32,000. 5 years ago.
Wow.
Today, it's $40,000 for a new car loan, right?
Yeah.
So just 5 years, right? So today, people who are getting car loans, they're paying more for the financing of their vehicle, right? And it's not just the car. We all know there's been inflation, right? So just be sensitive to tenants in the last few years. They have seen such a financial impact that they are distressed. We are seeing it in the applications that are coming across. We're seeing it in the number of bankruptcies people are claiming on the application. We're seeing it in the credit scores. What used to be B credit scores are now C credit scores. The C's are now D's and F's. There's a lot more. We never used to see so much in collections, right? Because our credit reports, when we run them, we see what's in collections and the amounts. We never used to see that much. Maybe we'd run an applicant, we see maybe one thing in collection, a couple of $100, not a big deal. Now we're running reports and we're seeing like 2, 3, 4 things in collections recently.
Yeah.
And it's thousands of dollars. So there's this third type of distress that we're seeing that we can use in our favor. If you're an owner, be aware of it. Know that it exists. Don't stick your head in the sand because that's going to hurt you. Again, this is where newbies get hurt, right? If you stick your head in the sand, you're going to become a distressed operator. Face into this. Know that this is happening. Okay. So for folks who are looking to purchase, like me and others, right, we use this to our benefit, right? We use this when we go ahead and we place our letter of intent, right? When we go to purchase, we say, hey, the market is softening. You think your building is worth that? And everybody, a lot of these, these brokers will put together a beautiful pitch, a beautiful pro forma, right? Yeah. And I come back and I say, no, that's not the case. I have the data. I have the evidence. I know the renters are distressed. I say, your rents aren't going up. If anything, your rents are coming down. That's what we're seeing for some markets. Not all, but some, right? We got to, I don't want to paint with a super broad brush. But it gives us leverage at that point to be able to negotiate the price down with actual data.
So let's get into why people are distressed. So one thing I know Neil Bawa talks about this a lot. I haven't really heard other people talk about it very much. Is with the immigration rules, like we had amazing rent growth because America was growing like crazy because the Biden administration did not really enforce immigration, and so we had just this massive amount of immigration. And now Trump's team is like a anti-immigration workforce, which is ironic when you think of like America is made up of immigrants. But okay, let's just pretend that doesn't that doesn't exist. All of us are immigrants to America, whether it was us or our parents or our parents' parents or our parents. Anyways, long story short, so then the legal process is a mess. Long story short, it's like now we're getting rid of all these people who are in America, and particularly in the Sunbelt, you have a lot of Hispanic people who are, without getting too political, I mean, they're either afraid or they're moving or they're getting, what was it, 10 or 12 million people. And that's also putting a downward pressure on rents. And then you have interest rates went up by 525%, the fastest, straight gain of interest rates ever in America's history. Yeah, we were prepared for interest rates to go up 2 points, not 5, not that much. Nobody was. And so now you have, I saw the statistic the other day, real estate values have dropped by 37%, or commercial real estate values have dropped by 37%, which you're like, okay, so I lost 37% of my equity. No, you lost 100% of your equity because you bought the property at 70% loan to value and you just lost 30%, which takes out all the investors and then 5% of the value. So now the bank can't get their note out of your property either. So you just lost 100% because the values of properties went down by 35%. So you can either sell today for a total loss, blame it on your operator because it's their fault, and then, whatever, which again, the operators can absolutely they make a massive difference, but the market also always gets a say. And so now you got distressed renters on top of distressed property values, and you had a glut of new operators to the market. And we started in 2017, but we didn't really see a ton of people enter until 2021, really, as like all of a sudden everybody was a new operator. And like, can I sell this to you? Because you're going to pay me way more than it's worth.
Yeah,
like the brokers,
those pro formers looked really good.
It's
back
amazing
then.
what you could make it look. Yeah, well, with zero interest, right? I mean, everything looked amazing.
Yeah. So, about those distressed renters, right? There's a lot of different reasons why that's here. This wasn't created in the last week, in the last month, or in the last year. This has been created over a number of years. It's been created from a political standpoint. Mm-hmm. It's been created from a economic standpoint. It's been created from a educational standpoint. It's been created from a societal standpoint, right? All these things I talk about in my book. And that's why, I like, for folks who want to do like real estate, and if there's anybody out there who wants a copy of my book, I'll send it to you for free. If you're in the States, it gets expensive to send it overseas, but I will send it at my shipping rate. I will send it to you for free. Just connect with Sam, connect with me. We'll give you the details, but I will send you the book because it goes through chapter by chapter. I spent 4 years writing this book, but it goes through all the political reasons as to, people have been given a warm blanket by the government more and more each year for so long that they expect it. They've gotten weak as far as, a people goes. They want that free cheese. They want that, housing voucher. And we just saw it recently during COVID, right? It was like, oh, you don't have to pay your rent. You don't have to pay your mortgage. Yeah. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I, as a property owner, I still need to pay my mortgage. I can't just stop paying, right? So, you didn't see that during the GFC, right? That didn't happen during the global financial crisis.
Nope.
And right. And in 2007, 2008, they didn't think about it then, right? But if we were to have another global crisis, financial crisis, let me tell you, that is in their arsenal right now, in the government's arsenal, to say, you don't have to pay your rent. You don't have to pay if you're a single family homeowner. You don't have to pay your mortgage. So the government has created some of these problems. We talk about some of that stuff, this warm blanket the government's politicians has provided. We also talk about it in terms of, the economics of things. People don't know relative to things like the US dollar, fiat currency, which we talk about. Fiat currency, it's the way it's designed. It's when the US, as the world's reserve currency holder, we need to always supply the world with dollars. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter if it's, supplying money to Ukraine or giving it to the UK or to Mexico or wherever. We need to get dollars. That's our job as the world reserve currency holder, right? Good or bad, right? There's goods and there's bads. But with that, when you create dollars and you supply that inventory, let's say, of dollars into the world, the more of that inventory you have in the world, we all know the more of something you have, the less it's valued. So we've seen the value of the dollar come down, and the purchasing power, as we say, the purchasing power of that dollar is less. We all know it. We've all seen it over the last, 5 years. But it's been happening since the beginning of time of the dollar as the world reserve currency, right? Is that going to change? No, that's not going to change. Yet we still have folks who don't understand that piece of it, right? Which brings me to another piece that we talk about in the book. There's a whole separate chapter on education, right?
Yeah.
People rely on solely the school system to provide their education. This is why I love what you do, Sam, right? You're out there, this takes time, energy, and money. Money, people, this is not free. These have to be edited. You got to do thumbnails. I get it. This is not a free thing that Sam provides. This is why I love supporting him, because he's providing education, like real world. No shit, this is how this happens, and this is how you have to protect yourself. So we can't just solely rely on the school system to educate ourselves on how things work. We need to read. We need to read articles. We need to watch YouTube videos from people who are actually doing what we want to do. Who better to learn from than people who are doing or have done what we want to do, right? If I want to learn to go do real estate, I'm going to call Sam. Hey, Sam, how do you do it? You make it look so easy. What's the risk? What's the reward? Hey, right. I would talk to you, right? And with social media these days, it's so easy to get a hold of people to have these conversations. So education is another piece we talk about. And then just society itself. We have a whole chapter on society where we talk about how society has degraded over time. We expect the government and others to solve our problems. Let me tell you, the problems get solved. Again, not overnight, because these things took a long time to be had in our world. But the way to solve it, start having family dinners and talking to your kids and sharing experiences with your kids, and get off the social media for a while and teach your kids and your family and have those conversations. And when you're riding in the car, take the headphones off the kid and start having these conversations. Right? That's how we start to fix these problems and understand our kids, what they're learning, what they're not learning, where they need some help, what they're having issues with, right? This is, ain't nobody going to be able to solve the problem, fully with the mental health crisis just with drugs. That starts at home. We need to help our young people, our family, our kids. This is why, I was just talking to a coach, a person who does real estate coaching. And he says, I was coaching this young person. He's like 18 years old. He's really interested in this. And I was like, wow, that's great. Here's this, he's late 40s, successful in real estate. And he's taken his own personal time to train, to coach this kid along. Is this kid going to buy real estate today at 18 years old? Maybe not, right? But he's taken his personal time to help this kid in need, because obviously mom isn't providing it, dad isn't providing it. This, it takes a village to raise kids these days. And so as a society, we need to have that mindset. So in the book, long story short, we talk about that. So it's not just one thing. I've had so many people say, Tony, it's the politicians. Yes, that is one of the reasons we're in this pickle we're in. But we ourselves, society, we've put ourselves there too. So we all have a little bit on us too.
Yeah, 100%. We do it to ourselves, right? We complain about things, and then we look at Instagram like, oh, what happened? The Kardashians said something bad about Trump. What did they say? Right? Like, it's like, oh, he's evil. And I'm not here to say he's good or evil. I'm just here to say, like, we're clicking on stuff that we want to feed into our view of the world. And instead of trying to figure out, like, how do I solve my community's problems, or how do I help my neighbor, or, how do we help people who are struggling get better? Or how do I coach an 18-year-old kid who wants to become successful? Yeah. And the thing is that nobody, not you, not me, not anybody else who's ever had any measure of success got there by themselves. Nobody has.
And what's success, right? I get that a lot.
And that's a great question.
What's success, right? That's for each and every one of us to define what success is for us, right? I've had plenty of people come up to me and said, "Oh, Tony, I want to do what you do. I want to have what you have," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, why? Like, maybe you'd be very happy with less. Maybe you'd be happy with more. But why? Like,
Yeah.
why do you want that? I do what I do, not because I want to buy, another building and say I have X number of doors. That doesn't bring me any joy. What brings me joy is being able to like say, hey, I have enough money coming in cash flow wise that I can take the entire month of October off and go to Portugal, right? For
Yeah.
the entire month and enjoy and not worry about it and spend and buy food and buy, excursions and beautiful hotels, right? That's not to be braggadocious. I drive around in my,
Yeah.
I'll share with you. I normally don't share it, right? So I drive around in my 20-year-old pickup truck
Yeah.
because I'm perfectly happy with my 20-year-old pickup truck. It's a great truck. It's a Toyota Tundra, by the way.
Yeah. I have a Tundra. It's number 4 Tundra. I think I had 3 tacos before that. Yeah.
So, but what makes you happy?
It works. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we all have to take a look at answering that question. Like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this just because I'm competing with somebody else? Then it's probably not the right answer. If you're doing it for your family, for your health, to be able to retire at an earlier age and have, more freedom, great. Then those are probably the right answers. But if you're doing it for showmanship and competitive purposes, I don't know. That's probably not a good reason.
It's probably not a good.
But who am I? Who am I to say?
I think everybody goes through that phase of like, what do I, I love Viktor Frankl. I love his book, Man's Search for Meaning. It was very much my philosophy before I read that book. Reading that book cemented it deeply that, when we have a meaning in life, when we're helping other people, where we're engaged in making a difference, that's when we find joy. You brought up that word joy, Tony. That's why I'm such a passionate advocate for disruptive capitalism. If you're just focused on the dollar number, the point system, your score, so to speak, and score is done by dollars, you will never have joy. You just will never have joy. You'll never have peace. You will always be chasing, chasing, chasing. You'll never have enough. Now, I don't have anything wrong with people maximizing their return by maximizing their value that they provide to the world. If you can help 1 billion people get out of poverty, you should get paid very well for that. If you can help 2 billion people get out of poverty, you should get paid very well for that. There's not a number on, I would much rather you be worth $10 trillion, but you helped billions of people get out of poverty than. So it's like we can create value. We can do it in a way that makes a difference. But at the end of the day, it's really human to human interaction, that the meaning that we create and find and source and believe and feel that really creates joy. And
I love it. And another piece of that, or that complements that, is just human productivity. Right. We have to be productive. We have to be able to not rely on the government and others so much. We have to personally be productive. And I know a lot of folks who are starting to ask the question, oh, gee, Tony, what do you see? Because I look a lot at economic research and data and stuff. What do you see happening with jobs? There's been more and more layoffs coming. And one of my questions is, what do you bring to the world? What's your value? And if all you can do is write down on a piece of paper, all I can do is change tires. And I'm not degrading that job, right? I'm just using it as an example. If all you can do is change tires for a living, your value is down here. But if you can write on that paper, I can change tires, I can tune an engine, I can install a new windshield, I can, do car detailing work, I can work on this, I can do that. Hey, wow, look at your value. It's huge, right?
Yeah.
If you can put all that down, you have a lot of value. You can have a lot of productivity and you have a lot of options for yourself. So it's an exercise that I think we all, again, the government isn't going to come to your door and ask you this. Your local politician isn't going to ask you this. Your professor isn't going to ask you this. Your school teacher, your neighbor, nobody's going to ask you this. And this is why I love, again, what you do, Sam. It's like, these are the types of thoughts we have amongst ourselves that we say, hey, let's all go off and do that exercise, me included, to say, what value do I bring to the world? And if it's very minimal, man, I got to think about that. I really
Yeah.
got to internalize that and say, how do I explode my value into something more so I'm not the victim? Because a lot of people are coming to me as the victim saying, Tony, I might lose my job. Well, that ain't my fault. That's not the employer's fault. That's not the politician's fault. You got to look at yourself and say, why haven't I, over the last 10, 20, 30 years, exploded my personal value and become so incredibly productive?
Love it. That question is a powerful question, right? And you can't ask that question and then go sit down and watch Netflix for 3 hours,
You
right?
can't. The power, and this is something else I've shared with folks that I think is pretty powerful. And all these things I do myself. I'm not immune to it, right? When to be able to go off and just have some quiet time to think to yourself, right? Whatever it may be, whether it's, hey, I want to get involved in real estate. Well, go have a quiet conversation with yourself. Why? What does that bring to you? Because you can boast to your friends and your neighbors that you now own real estate. I know a ton of people who got involved in real estate recently who are now distressed owners
Yep.
because they did it for the wrong reasons, right? They thought
Mm-hmm.
it was all sexy and glamorous. And guess what? It's not always sexy and glamorous. It's work.
As it
So
so
think
happens.
about
Yeah.
it. Right? Think about that. If you're struggling in your relationship, right? And as times start to turn, some people start to struggle in their relationship, right? Things really start to head home when the work hours get cut. You're not bringing home as much money, whatever it may be. Think about your personal relationship. How can I strengthen that? That's something I work on. How do I have a better relationship? Do I continue to work more? Or do I actually put the phone down and close the laptop when a certain hour comes and go have a glass of wine with my partner to be able to build that relationship and make it strong as I can make it? What can I do? Ain't nobody coming to my doorstep to answer those questions. It's only me. It's only quiet time up here off of social media, quiet time where I can think about, how do I be a better man? How do I be a better person? How do I be a better coach? How do I be those are the questions I need quiet time to answer to myself.
That's wonderful advice. I hope as many people who have listened to our conversation read your book, reach out to you and listen. You've given sage advice that only somebody who's been in the industry for a while can say, that can speak with realism. Today is full of, no offense to Pace Morby or Grant Cardone or the others who make it seem so easy and don't, don't share all the trauma, the pain, the dealing with market downs and ups and downs and downs and ups and and all the struggles and who don't talk about getting down to the human level with your resident and figuring out why they're having problems and trying to figure out how you can help them instead of just trying to turn the unit and maximize the next renter. It's like, how do the only people who think about these things are the ones who are focused on humans, focused on making a difference, and still think with that capitalistic brain of how do we create more value? How do we make it better? And how do we improve? And we have to make money and revenue off this so we can sustain ourselves and help other people. If you can't sustain yourself, you don't even have $1 in your account, you're not helping anybody.
You got it. You got it. I'm going to throw one more thing. I know we're probably running over here, but I'm going to throw out one more thing for folks who are involved in real estate, residential real estate. I know for the last few years, a lot of folks have been pumping the rents higher and higher. And okay, maybe just because you can't get it, that's fine. But again, as you know, Sam is sharing here, think about the other end of the equation, the human end of the equation with your renters, with your tenants. We're all human. When you think about increasing rent, also think about giving back something.
Yeah.
Hey, would it help you to have ceiling fans in your 2 bedrooms? I'll install those. Yes, I'm going up on rent, but you know what? Let me add some ceiling fans for you. Oh, you're a huge cook? Let me install a garbage disposal in your kitchen. Would that help you to have a garbage disposal? Oh my God, you would love that? Great. Let me go ahead and have my plumber come over here and install a garbage disposal for you the next time he's here, right? What about this? What about, right? Like, be human about this. These are real people who are already, like, look at the data. People are struggling financially. So just to go up, say like $100 or even $50, give back something, right? Think about giving back something that may help them have a better quality of life. So anyway, that's, I know we're running over on time, but you made me think about that. And I think it's a pretty powerful thing that you were saying. We're all human. Let's help each other.
Let's help each other. And you can make lots of money doing that. There's no reason why you can't. Not all billionaires are bad people. They're just people. And a lot of them have just created a remarkable amount of value in the world. I love Amazon. I love what Jeff Bezos created. I'm perfectly fine with him being ultra rich. He created an amazing tool that we use all the time that makes our lives better. Now, how he spends his money and what kind of a human being is, that's between him and God and 10 million trolls. But it's like, like, we can be better, we can do more, and we can make the world a better place. Okay. Tony, thank you so much for being on the pod. How can people reach out to you, and where can they get your book?
So the easiest way to reach out to me is just shoot me an email. I'm a human being. Just reach out to me. I answer all my emails. So you can find me at Tony Lopes at dirtybootscapital.com. Tony Lopes with an S at dirtybootscapital.com. And then if you want a free copy of my book, just send me an email, put book in the subject so it flags me, right? Just put book in the subject, and then in the body, put your name and address so I know where to send it. If you want to help contribute to the cause that folks like Sam and I fight each and every day to help spread the word and try to help people get better. I always appreciate it when folks go to Amazon. Speaking of Bezos, go to Amazon, buy my book there. It's not a lot of money. I think it's like $20 or something like that. So yes, I do get a little bit of that. Not a lot, but a little bit. But it all goes towards fighting the fight and living another day to do so. So I appreciate that. But if you can't afford the $20 to buy the book, just send me an email. I'll send you a free copy. It's okay, right?
Fantastic.
It'll be our little secret.
Fantastic. Love it. Thank you so much for being on the call. And I'll make sure all of those links are in the show notes. And you heard it from Tony yourself. If you want a free copy, just email him and talk to him. And I'll be happy to send it. Thank you, everyone, for joining the pod. And Tony, thank you so much for the conversation.
Thanks for having me on, Sam. Appreciate you. Thank you.
If this episode shifted your thinking, then share it with someone bold. And remember, capital is a tool. Use it to build a world you are proud to live in.